Hi ladies, it's Elisa and I am here for my 37-week update because today I am 38 weeks pregnant and 37 was a big week. We got some very interesting news at the doctors on Friday. And I'm sorry that you might see me bouncing. I'm not like on my bed or anything. I have got a birthing ball, or they're also called exercise balls or yoga balls. And I'm sitting on that right now because it's really like the most comfortable thing to sit on ever. So if you guys don't have them, I suggest getting them like early. Like 20 weeks pregnant. I should have been doing all my updates on this thing. But yeah, it's really comfortable. So I'm sorry if I bounce or anything. That might be distracting. Sorry guys. But yeah, so we are like careening towards the finish line once again. And 37 weeks. Okay, so Brian's sister lives in LA, and she was going to come up this week. So the whole week was just more of discomfort, really just harder to get around and everything. And she came up on Thursday. So this is towards the end of my 37th week. And on Thursday, Drew, our younger daughter, was actually graduating from middle school. And so we woke up at about 7, but at about 7:30, because the graduation was at like 9 a.m. But at about 7:30, I started getting really crazy, just like cramping. But when I realized what was actually happening, it turned out that I was totally having contractions, but not like Braxton Hicks contractions. They say in our birthing class, they said that Braxton Hicks is more just the really tightening of your belly and the front of your stomach, whereas a contraction would like radiate from your back all the way around your whole midsection. So I started having them. It was really just a pain all around my entire middle, and it didn't come in like waves like I felt like a contraction would be like. It starts off, gets harder, and then goes away. It was basically just started off as just my stomach and uterus, lower uterus being contracting, and then it started radiating from my lower back and upper buttocks and just everything all the way around, just this pulsing over and over again, just really uncomfortable pain. But I was able to get dressed and head off to the graduation, and I was fine. But it was about 20 minutes away, and so that 20-minute car ride for about an hour from the time that it started till well into the graduation ceremony, I was just having these just really painful contractions. They didn't knock the breath out of me or really anything what I would think contractions would feel like, but it was definitely real contractions. And so and I cried a little in the car because I felt stupid because I couldn't tell if they were Braxton Hicks contractions or like, oh my gosh, is this kid coming today contractions. So I think it's just new mom anxiety. I don't know really what I'm looking for. I know in theory what I'm looking for, but I've never done it before, so it was still a little stressful. But into the graduation ceremony, they did stop completely. And my stomach, everything from like the back towards the front just eased, and all of me felt more comfortable. So I don't know if it was tension or anxiety or whatever brought it on, but it was only for about an hour and then it went away. And so that was Thursday. But after that, everyone was like watching me like a hawk. How are you feeling? Are you having any more contractions? Are you okay? Because she had come up on Wednesday night, and so Wednesday and then the rest of Thursday was a blur of like walking around, and we went to a local place called Scandia. They have a little mini golf course and just involved in an arcade, and I was walking around with her youngest daughter, which is 4, and so I was having fun with her, but it was all that walking was bringing on more contractions. Not real contractions, full on super painful contractions, but definitely lots of tightening, lots of Braxton Hicks contractions, more than I've had this entire pregnancy. So, and the same thing with Friday. It was just a lot more walking and just hanging out and getting up and getting down and getting in and out of cars, and just a lot more activity than I have been doing because I've been on maternity leave. And even before that, I was, working. So I was sitting at a desk most of the day. So anyway, it was just a crazy 3 days. But I am still pregnant. So it has not started. But what we did find out, the biggest news, other than me having real genuine contractions, is that on Friday, we had our 37-week scan, because now we are on those weekly appointments. And my doctor was looking around. He's like, well, and I'm like, okay, what? But the more he looked, he was having a really hard time finding amniotic fluid. So he did find one pocket down by the baby's head, not in the baby's head. The water, the amniotic fluid that was around the baby's head is now gone. The baby is as down as he can get for right now. And he was having a hard time locating any more. And I know that that's not good. So I was like, is that a problem? Like, is there something I can do? Or, do I have to drink more water? Because I'm, really good about drinking water. But he said there's nothing you could do. And he's like, well, then he found another pocket up really high in my uterus, around the baby's feet. And he said, if I hadn't found this second pocket of water, I wouldn't be okay with you leaving today. And I was like, well, at all? What do you mean? And I was like, so what does this mean? I was like, if we hadn't found the other pocket, we would want to be induced. And he's like, well, we would want to try to avoid being induced because that's going to be really painful for you. And I was like, well, that's great. But still making me a little nervous. So the news is that the doctor thinks that I will probably not make it very much longer. The level of amniotic fluid did make him nervous a little. He didn't say he was nervous, but that's what I was walking away with. But so they think he did schedule me for a non-stress test, because I was like, well, listen, my next appointment with you is not for a whole other week, not until the very next Friday. I'm like, that's a long time if we're already worried about the levels of amniotic fluid. And he's like, yeah, well, why don't we have you guys come in for an NST, and that's a non-stress test for those of you who don't know, and on Tuesday. So he was like, on Wednesday. No, Tuesday. He might have even decided Monday. I'm not quite sure, because it was Friday at that point. So we are going to have an NST. I'm not sure exactly what that involves. I probably should have Googled it. I know that you have to lay down for an hour and they strap a monitor onto you and baby and make sure that we're doing okay. And if the baby doesn't show any signs of stress and he's moving like he should, I guess, then we'll just go about our day. But then we have another NST scheduled for that Friday right before my appointment with him. So yeah, so but the doctor, as I was leaving, he's like, so I'll see you next week, maybe. Because my mom was there with me at the appointment, because Brian was spending time with his sister. And she's like, well, I guess I'm going to be wrong, because I guess July 1st. And he's like, oh, I don't think she'll go that long. But he also didn't think that, he thinks that I'll probably go into labor maybe before the next appointment. So that's now within this time frame. So it's crazy. He does not think that I'm going to make it much longer, and he's the doctor, but they never know, really, I guess. But it's crazy. That made me very nervous, made Brian very nervous when I told him. I thought he'd be more excited, but I think he's like, what do you mean there's not enough amniotic fluid? What does that mean? And there are complications that can arise from that. But it's mostly a problem like mid-pregnancy and early in pregnancy. Now in late pregnancy, it's actually kind of natural. And so it's just my body is sending baby Sawyer an eviction notice, it would seem. Even though maybe I'm not ready, my body seems to be ready. And my mom said that, to try to alleviate my stress, she said when she was pregnant with my youngest brother, that she was told at her very last appointment, that her very last prenatal appointment, that she had really low levels of amniotic fluid, and she said she went into labor 3 days later. So, all by herself. Because, I mean, let's be honest, ladies, nobody wants to get induced. Pitocin is supposed to make really painful contractions and, you know, make a process that's already painful even more painful. And, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to make it more painful than it already needs to be. So, yeah, but that's real, true story. That's what's happening. The doctor does not seem like he is, overly concerned. Obviously, he wouldn't have let me leave the hospital. I assume we would have just been admitted to labor and delivery if he hadn't found that second pocket of amniotic fluid, and we would have just started giving me fluids and Pitocin. I don't really know. I didn't ask him because he was fine with it. So, I mean, I'm not going to worry about the stress of that situation. But hopefully on Tuesday when we have our NST, it will be fine. And baby Sawyer is still kicking. I am paying very close attention to his movements now that I know that he could go into distress because of the low levels of amniotic fluid. I am paying very close attention to what he's doing, and he is still moving like a champ. And that's probably why his movements have been more uncomfortable, because there's nothing in there to cushion the blow, really. Not a lot of fluid. So, that's crazy. I could be having a baby early. Very, very soon. Very quickly. So, we went right out and exchanged. I bought the wrong size birth ball. I bought a really small one, and assuming that I would need the tiniest one because I'm so short, but I'm also a puffier girl, so it was just too small. Anyway, so I got the medium birth ball. So I'm bouncing on it, and today we went to an outdoor flea market and walked around for about an hour, because I have had a few contractions since Friday's contractions. It's now Sunday, or since Thursday's really big, heavy contractions. But Brian has been great. When he sees, he's like, "Hun, I can tell you're holding your breath. You need to stop holding your breath. You need to breathe through the contractions." And just, you know, when you're coping with pain, sometimes you clench, and that's just your natural reaction, is to clench when you're in pain. And that's what I have to try to train out of myself, is when I'm having contractions, I need to be breathing through them and relaxing. So Brian has already showed himself to be a very competent coach. So I'm okay. I am still worried. I am nervous still. You know, the reality of giving birth is crazy, but I'm ready. And my biggest concern now, obviously, is Sawyer. If my body's trying to get him out of me, then I want to pay attention and make sure that we do this. You know, if on Tuesday the non-stress test shows that he could be going into distress, then I'm like, do this. Let's do this. Get him out. That's fine. However you need to get him out. If we need to induce me, if we need to have a C-section, then, you know, really that's all that matters. So I was going to do a video on my birth plan for you guys, but this is kind of throwing a wrench into those to those machine, I guess. Sorry, I'm starting to fidget because I'm getting nervous, because the idea of giving birth is kind of crazy. But really, I don't have anything super special scheduled for my birth plan. You know, I want to delay cord clamping, and, you know, I want to delay all of the initially they take the baby, they weigh the baby, they measure the baby, they do all of that stuff. But you can actually request to have that not done. You can have it request, if the baby's not showing any sign of distress, then he stays with mom for the first hour, and then they do all the testing and everything that they need after the first hour, because you get immediate skin-to-skin contact, but then he stays right with you, on you. He can latch, you can practice breastfeeding just right immediately as soon as he's born. And so I've requested that, but again, with the non-stress test and possibly being induced, I don't know how all of this will work out, or if I'll have to have a C-section, so it might be completely, this all might be redundant, but yeah, so I'm not setting a lot of store in that. I'm not banking on going into labor this week, because if we pass both non-stress tests are fine and the doctor is still okay with the level of fluid that I have on Friday, then we're just gonna keep, trucking along and hope that I go into labor naturally. But we did a lot of things yesterday in the house. Brian's sister was gone, so I finished packing my hospital bag with some stuff for Brian, some stuff for me, some stuff for baby. Nothing crazy. I'm not trying to go crazy. I have one just small carry-on, or it's just slightly bigger than a carry-on. And I've just put it very minimal, and I'm gonna bring it's like a boppy, but it's called the Breast Friend. So I'm sure you other women probably know exactly what that is, but it's the same idea. So I'm bringing that to the hospital too, and I'm gonna bring my birth ball, because my birth, I don't know, coach teacher lady at the birthing class said that these are great. So at the hospital. So and I'm gonna try to avoid going to the hospital if I do naturally go into labor here at the house. So yeah, that's crazy, guys. But we did a lot of stuff in the house. Finished packing the hospital bag, like I said, but also we set up the pack and play, and we registered for a pack and play that has the little baby bassinet on one side and the changing table on the changing pad on that, so we could have that in the living room, so I don't have to be walking all the way across the house to get diapers or whatever, or if I'm doing dishes or something. I mean, out there I can move the pack and play around with me. And we had to rearrange some of the furniture, and I will make a video of that. I think I'm going to go film it after this, and then I'll probably upload it right after this. And we set up the swing and put all the fabrics on it and stuff, and found a place for it in the living room, and we had to move some chairs out of the way. But now the house looks like Command Central, baby Command Central. It's crazy. And Brian we got a car seat that came with the base, obviously, and we did the Graco Click Connect system, because we also got a stroller that goes with the Graco Click Connect. The modes 3-in-1. I will, of course, show you guys that when I do the tour of the house. And so we got 2 bases to go with our car seat, so that we wouldn't have to install and reinstall them. So Brian installed one in his car and one in my car. We both have small SUVs, both small Chevy SUVs. So that worked out really well. And yeah, it's crazy. Our lives are totally set up for baby now. We are fully ready to go. The only thing that hasn't been set up is his co-sleeper. It's still sitting in its package at the end of my bed. Because once you set that up and you connect it to the bed and you put the strap underneath the mattress and stuff, so that it doesn't wiggle away from you or whatever, but then I won't be able to get in and out of bed, because my pregnant butt can barely get in and out of bed without anything impeding my way. So we're gonna wait to set that up until we actually bring Sawyer home. But which could be soon, which has been just crazy. I'm sorry this video is long again, guys, but it was a crazy week, and this is really happening. I'm hoping I go into labor naturally, maybe before Tuesday, or we'll see what the NST shows. Sawyer's really little soccer star in here. He's constantly moving. He's moving right now, kicking, and I hope that he's doing fine. He's still a big boy. He's measuring 7 pounds, 12 ounces. So again, he didn't gain very much more weight, but the doctor said that their weight gain does slow down right about now. And, but also if he has low amniotic fluid, intrauterine growth restrictions, IUGR. Anyway, there are a few other YouTubers who have had children, who have had that. Sometimes your body's just, your placenta is slowing down and it's not working like it should, and the baby just can't grow as much. So I'm also concerned that that's a side effect sometimes of low amniotic fluid. So, we'll see. We'll see what the doctor says. I'm really interested to see about the NST. Brian's not going, but my mom is going, because, he doesn't need to sit there and watch me sit there for an hour, if it's even an hour. I don't know if it is. But, yeah, so hopefully it'll be fine. And I will update you guys maybe with a baby, maybe without a baby. We'll see. I'll probably update you guys next Friday with the results of both NSTs, and I don't actually know. I don't know when I'm going to update you guys because I don't know what my next week is going to look like. But so this could be my last vlog, but it could not be. Or my last pregnant vlog. Anyway, so yeah, I will be talking to you guys. I am going to stop this video and then I'm going to go record where all the baby stuff is with Forgive My House, because again, it's like Babies R Us exploded all over the place. So, yeah, so I will be talking to you ladies, and I might be meeting baby Sawyer soon. It's crazy. Growing someone is different than actually meeting them. Insane. Anyway, so I will be talking to you ladies. Bye. Wish me luck.